Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bingetown TV and Buzztown TV. We are back with our Yellowjackets coverage for episode 8, the penultimate of the season, because we only got 9. We're here with Luke, Dave, and Brian. We're back to the OG squad. Shout out to Jimmy for covering for us last week. We had a crazy week, Mother's Day. I turned 30, pat on the back,
Still looks
Anyway.
20.
So a great episode. I'm going to throw it to Luke just because, we didn't get to be on the episode. So our thoughts are pure gold. So I'm going to toss it to Luke just if he had any thoughts on last episode as we move into this episode.
I am not that unhappy that we missed recording on that last episode because it was probably my least favorite of the season. And I think you guys did a great job covering it. A little bit long because the parents left. So me and Kathleen were gone. And a little bit extra. You throw Jimmy in there, Theory Town, all over the place. It was great listening to the episode, though. I am only going to harp on one point, and the one point is I absolutely hated the Shauna beatdown on Lottie. Beatdowns, you crushed that whole segment talking about she has brain damage now. She is a dead person. Like, she is not alive. That was really poorly written, I guess, in terms of how many punches. Like, she's dead. So that's the only thing I'll say. I hate it. I don't think you can really redeem it because it already happened and there's nothing that can change that happened unless it was all a dream, whatever. But we're already past that point because of this episode. That's the only thing I'll say. This episode was such a step up. So I'll save my thoughts for this. But Kathleen, go ahead.
So I agree, but I also think that you can chalk it up to Lottie is some sort of higher calling. In this episode, which I'll say in my synopsis, they literally decide, okay, well, even though Lottie's on the brink of death, let's kill someone else that's healthy anyway. Like, there is something, it's similar to what Van says last episode when she's like, why am I still alive? Why am I still here? You never know if it's something that it's television. So there's a higher power keeping her alive. It's not like real life where, of course, that was fucking insane. Like, I watched with my parents and 5-10 minutes after the episode stops, my mom out of nowhere just goes, can't believe they would just watch and let her do that. Like, it was still eating her alive. And I felt that. I really did. And then shout out to Caligula, just because I didn't have a chance to listen to the episode. Did you shout that he was in Sandman?
Yes.
Okay,
we had
cool.
to cut the segment. We had to cut it though because how I was trying to get to the point of getting to Sandman was
spoil it.
Oh, it was just I was mixing characters up. Like, I knew he was in Sandman.
I kept a little bit of it in, but there was like a minute of confusion where we were going back and forth. Like, Dave, who the hell was he playing in Sandman? I thought he was describing the character Lust, which it just completely wasn't. But we're going too far into this.
You kept it was a villain, but he wasn't a villain person in it. But either way, I knew what you meant when you brought it up on the episode. Yeah.
All right, but before I get into the synopsis, I just want to say, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button on Buzztown TV, which is our full Yellowjackets coverage. And then, of course, on our Bingetown TV, which is our main feed, you'll get every little episode we're doing now. We're doing Succession, which is absolutely heating up. We're finishing out that season, the final season. We're doing Silo, which is a brand new Apple TV show that is so dope. So we're doing that. And we just finished Mandalorian. And am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. But we've been doing this for 3 years. So we've been covering all kinds of shows. So hit subscribe. Also, really quick, for Yellowjackets specifically, if you go on our YouTube, we've been posting a lot of smaller clips with theories and things like that. And you can see our beautiful faces. And so check out our YouTube. Anyway, so episode 8, It Chooses. Episode 7 asked the question, does a hunt that has no violence feed anyone? In which episode 8 said, you're right, let's kill someone ASAP. The girls and boys are all starving, hallucinating, and surviving on belt soup. And instead of eating the person that's already on the brink of death, they decide to YOLO and kill anybody else instead. Namely Nat, who has sacrificed a lot more of her time and energy to try and help the gang than 99% of the squad. In an attempt to save her, Javi, being the sweet boy he is, got himself killed, along with any pertinent information he had on his whereabouts for the last few months. Prayers up that Ben Scott can fill in some blanks for us now that he has found the tree bunker. In the current day, every secret that the girls have been keeping for 18 episodes are now on the table. Jeff being the blackmailer, Ty hiring Jessica Roberts, Misty subsequently killing Jessica Roberts, etc. And Lottie's genius solution is for one of them to drink poison to appease the wilderness gods. Meanwhile, the Cuse and Kevin are zeroing in on the Sadecki household, but we are crossing our fingers our boy Walter is going to use his superpowers to ruin the case. And that's episode 8, y'all. The penultimate.
Fantastic. That was a great synopsis.
Thanks. So now that I've talked for too long, Dave, Brian, what did you guys think of the app?
I think my first watch through, I was like, what the hell just happened? I feel like they turned the pacing up to 100 a little bit unnecessarily. And I think we got a lot of things that happened definitely in the 90s towards the second half of the episode where I wasn't expecting shit to ramp up this much until like maybe even next season, like the following winter. But they went here. I'm almost glad that we had Jimmy on the last episode because I feel like he had the whole like, what are they going to use that queen card with the eyes crossed out? He had that theory like 90% there. He had a couple other details that they didn't, but it was simply the cards there, they shuffle it in the deck and hilarity ensues. All the stuff in the 2020s with the Cuse and Kevin interrogating Jeff, those were great scenes. Our boy Jeff, I think, rose to the occasion. I can't wait to dig into that. And I think they did a good job harvesting a lot of the seeds that were planted last season, specifically how the Yellowjackets finally found out that Shauna has been lying to them and brought Jeff into the fold for the whole Adam stuff, which I remember in the season 1 coverage. I was like, this is going to come to a head. The Yellowjackets are going to find out and they're going to be pissed. So I would have been upset if they didn't follow along with that kind of storyline and give a little closure to that. But I've watched this episode 3 times now at this point, and I think by my third watch through, I was a lot happier with it. But again, like some stuff with the pacing I thought was a little bit clunky, and I'll get to the one scene, Kathleen, you were kind of talking about it, how they just decided, no, not Lottie, let's any able-bodied person, let's kill them. I can't imagine a place without Lottie, but we'll get there when we get there. Overall, yeah, it was a good episode. A lot to digest. It was a crazy episode.
I'm going to be honest. I thought this was one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. I agree 100% with B-Toms, though, that the pacing did feel a little off. And I would agree. And I think Twitter would also agree with you. I think after I watched the episode live, kind of just went to the Twitter comments just to see what people were saying about it. And it did seem like the number one complaint was the pacing of it, like how the girls went from, it being not so spiritual of a thing. And then all of them like holding hands, doing the sacrifice on the headpiece, all that stuff. So people had issues. I overall kind of overlooked all that. I didn't mind it too much. It just kind of fits the bill with what Lottie's been spewing and them kind of getting closer to the answers. So I still think this is one of my favorite episodes of the series so far. Maybe just one minor complaint that I'll get to later in our discussion, but overall, fantastic episode.
Luke, you got the IMDb deets?
I do. This episode definitely jumped at its debut compared to last episode. And I think, Brian, you brought it up because you were the one talking through all this stuff at the beginning. Burial was the lowest rated one in a while, which was last episode. But this one is back. It started around 8.6. It's down to 8.5 now. I'm sure that'll settle down around 8.1, which seems to be the average of most of season 2, which I agree with. I thought it was a really good episode, way better than last episode. The Lottie conversation criticism is super valid. That's pretty much the general consensus that did we get from point A to point B way too quick? We'll talk about that more later in this podcast. One thing I wanted to bring up though is what I'm starting to see around Reddit, Twitter, all the social medias and whatnot is we're about at the point in the season, and this happens with all streaming shows, is people are starting to really flag plant about the season, whether they love it or they hate it compared to season 1 and like the future of the show. This happens with everything. It happened with The Last of Us right around the penultimate episode. It's just when people start getting very assertive with their opinions about the show, and we're going to probably be doing the same thing because, we're seeing the finish line of season 2. I will say that of the criticisms I see, like a lot of it is like, is the writing clunky and the pacing weird compared to season 1? But then people love how much more attention to the characters that we love got compared to season 1. So there's things on both sides of it. But the one criticism I'm not okay with that I'm seeing circulated. And if you're listening to this, if you see the ratings being lower for the live streaming of Yellowjackets, I think it's a very important to point out that Yellowjackets is weird where they release the episode 2 days before the live streaming on Sunday. So the live numbers are significantly down and people are running with that saying like, oh, like people aren't watching it, which is not true. It's really hard to quantify streaming numbers like that, but you got to really take into account that people are watching it like us. I don't watch it live. I watch it before on Fridays. So that's something like, I see people run with it, but then people who are in the know kind of like go battle back and forth. And I just don't want anybody to flag plant based on the general consensus that the numbers are down, anything like that. So just, that was my piece to it. I think we'll as a podcast, all give our opinions on the season compared to season 1 after next episode, because there's so much more that they can save and so much more they can add on in the finale. So right now, I mean, I still love this season. I think we're heading towards maybe season 1 was better thinking about it, but I still really enjoyed the season and I really enjoyed this episode because the tension was off the charts.
Agreed. Are we ready to hop in? All right. Let's start in 96, 97, the wilderness. And we open with obviously Lottie got her ass beat last episode. So now she's basically, she can't do anything. They're helping her go to the bathroom. She's peeing blood and Shauna was kicking her in the guts. They're like, it's her kidneys or whatever. There's a whole scene with Mari and Misty puts her on a place, which I know the squad was probably like snaps for Misty finally being like, can you just stop? You're such a brat all the time. And when Misty says that, it's real because Misty just wants friends. I don't think she would snap at anybody if they didn't deserve it, But let's talk quickly, just a list of people losing it. So Ty is, everyone's starving, sort of hallucinating. We get a lot of this imagery, like the way it was directed of people kind of coming in and out. So Ty's now vulnerable just in the daytime of seeing the other Ty, her other half, at Lady in the Tree, I think we decided we're calling her. And then Akilah with the frickin' mouse. Let's talk about it. Let's open the floor.
It's definitely the biggest shock. I mean, I didn't expect it at all. I don't think we ever had even questioned whether the rat was alive or not. And I think it was just an excellent twist that brings a little bit of more darkness into what's going on in the cabins and everything. Like, it's not only now just Ty and Lottie hallucinating. We're getting people who haven't had exposure to the spiritualness of the wilderness now also being exposed to it. So phenomenal twist. I was like, we got that weird camera POV of Akilah looking at the rat, and we saw it a couple times with Travis and some other people, but I was like expecting the rat to like kind of like jump, make a jump scare, like kind of like jump at Akilah. So I was kind of like bracing myself for that. But then when Ty comes over the shoulder and is like, that thing is dead, I'm like, no fucking way. And it's that dried out mouse. Ugh, it was disgusting, but fucking incredible shot.
That was such a little moment that I absolutely loved. I don't know why. We didn't even think about theorizing anything about the rat at all. And like, that's really important because another criticism I've been seeing is like, are the girls being shown as being starving enough? And I feel like this episode does a decent job. Like, this is delusional level of starving if Akilah is imagining this rat's like around all the time. I think we've seen episodes where she's trying to feed it things, and now like thinking back, it's like, holy shit, man, that such a small moment that I, for some reason, like Dave, it just like blew my mind.
I thought it was cool how they showed it because when Ty confronts her and Akilah kind of snaps back, you can see all the Yellowjackets in the room are watching what's going down. So everybody in the cabin knew that Akilah was dealing with this dead rat thing, and it's just nobody was ready to say anything. And then once Ty decided it was time, like everybody was kind of invested in how Akilah was going to react. But I completely agree. I mean, this episode, they knew that they had to have these girls kind of devolve and give themselves into the starvation for the events of the second half of the episode to happen. So I feel like this first half of the episode was just to show they are starving, not to the point where it's just like complaining about starving, where they are actually being physiologically affected by it. And again, I think they kind of just threw it at us way too hard and heavy in just this one isolated instance in this episode, and then used that to kind of give the green light for them to go to cannibalism, which I'm just going to highlight the pacing. this entire episode because I think it was kind of poor.
I mean, and I don't want to skip this Nat and Ben conversation. We'll come back to it, but Mari is hearing the dripping again, and then Ty says she may hear it too, and then the blood's dripping through the walls. So we're getting more of this Mari imagining things, and this made me theorize. Now it's already debunked by the end of the episode, but I thought maybe like if Mari really is Pit Girl, maybe she was imagining everyone like chasing after her and stuff, and then eats it because we don't. I think during that first scene we only hear things. We don't actually see people until Misty, quote unquote. We're not actually confirmed it's Misty, maybe with the pink Vans or Converse. Like I was just thinking, okay, maybe Mari's just losing it and she's actually making it up in her head. But now that we see that the necklace goes on the person that's getting like hunted, that's confirmed real for me now. But it did make me think. Did you guys have any? I know we've been saying like, who knows what Mari's doing or thinking about the drips. Anything else?
That was literally all I was going to say. Is just to add more is I don't know fucking shit that's going on right now. Especially the one thing that really threw me off is that she said they're all dead. Again, the pronouns I think tending to matter a little bit more here as we're kind of wrapping up season 2. We get a they reference. I took it maybe as they as in she said their blood, right? Or they're all dead. What was it?
I think said they're all dead.
They're all dead.
Well, that could connect directly to what we saw. I think it was 2 episodes ago when we have the visions in 2021, I think it is, of the plane where they're all dead. Like you see the Antler Queen come on. So it's like, are we getting visions of like an alternate reality where the Antler Queen and Forest Spirit didn't save them? Kind of like where I'm at, but I don't really know.
I just thought also it maybe was all the past sacrifices. Like if there were people that were doing this in the past and maybe in this location, she's seeing the blood of all the other old sacrifices. No fucking idea. As usual, we might as well just be the no idea podcast for this show.
It's also significant that Ty heard the dripping this time, and I'm kind of going to take that a step further and suggest that I think we were watching The Lady in the Tree for the majority of the 1990s sequences. We saw that the Lady in the Tree took over control of Ty when they ate Snacky. I feel like this is another moment where she would just black out, let the Lady in the Tree take control rather than actually commit to like chasing Nat. You know what I mean? But also, I think that the Lady in the Tree would be I don't know, more susceptible to hearing crazy shit like dripping. Yes, I don't know. Agreed. Ty's never heard it before. She's hearing it now. I feel like that might mean it's Lady in the Tree.
Okay.
I agree with that. So let's rip through the Ben storyline. So we have a quick conversation before he goes off. So Nat and Ben have a conversation, and Nat is walking through just how everybody is changed because of Lottie. She has control over the group, which I thought was, I really like the Nat and Ben conversations because I feel like Nat can say things to Ben that she can't say to anyone else, including Travis. She can kind of lay it out on the table and say, what the fuck is happening? Because he's the only one who's not buying into it at this point. Like Shauna was on the other side, but now she's so in her own world that she's not even a confidant anymore in the anti-Lottie stuff. So Nat says maybe her dying wouldn't be the worst. And of course, it's so funny that Nat's the one that gets to pick the card at the end. And in the beginning, Nat's like, maybe we should just kill Lottie off. And then she picks the card. So coincidence? Who's to say?
Yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, her picking the card, whatever the powers that be are, knew that Nat was never going to have to take the brunt of it.
True. So
but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So Ben starts to go through Javi's things at this point. And he goes to this drawings, gets to the tree point of it, and has this epiphany. I'm blanking. What was the thing that made him go check? What did Nat say that made him have the epiphany?
She said the tree, right?
Yeah, they said she had seen Javi praying to the tree by the creek or something like that, and that is what perked Ben Scott's ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then he starts like building up super crutches so he can get there. And Misty's like, we good, bro. Like just checking in, just a little quick check-in, which I'm glad about. But yeah, I mean, let's just open it for all Ben Scott stuff. Finally, I feel like he has a good storyline.
I was
finally.
I was hyped. Me and Alki were watching it live, and when he started digging through the suitcase, Alki was like, let's fucking go. Like, let's get some fucking answers. Ben's the only one making big money moves out here. So I'm really happy for our boy. What a 180 from, episode 1 this guy has had on me. Absolutely love Ben. Spoiler alert, maybe the MVP for me later in the episode.
Ooh.
I'm happy that this happened because I don't think suicide's on the table anymore. And I also think that he's going to survive this season now. And I never would have guessed that at the beginning because there's not enough time to shift the whole finale towards killing and eating Ben since we did the whole Javi thing. So I think he's good. I think his actor will be there for season 3, which I'm really excited about. We'll get at least one more season of Coach Ben Scott. And yeah, I'm still on team. I would be beating the shit out of Javi constantly because he has this important information about like these heat trees and stuff. And there's probably going to be so many more reveals because we still have to figure out about who he was talking about when he talked for the first time to Ben all the way back in the middle of the season, saying he said something like, she told me it was going to be to come back or something like that. We have to find out.
Not to come back.
Okay. So yeah, we got to find out about that. We got to find out how interconnected the roots are and if it connects at all to what Lottie's been seeing where there's like that underneath altar thing. So there's a lot of things here that I'm really excited about. I'm happy Coach Bed's leading the charge because if he has purpose, he's not going to be thinking about like killing himself, which is we need him around still for the squad because it's going to devolve the second he's gone.
Yeah, I like that Ben is being handed the reins of the Javi experience and knowledge because now that Javi's obviously no longer a thing for us, we need someone to get to that information. So I'm glad it's Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's out of the woods yet. He's currently off the grid in West Jabip, and there were some freshly bloodied rabbit bones or something in that cave. So I'm sure someone dangerous might be in there.
Wasn't that just alluding to how Javi survived?
Like bear bones?
I don't think we can 100% assume that that's like Javi's remnants.
You can't 100% assume anything, but I took it as those were like rat bones that he was just eating.
Yeah, that's how I took it too.
To survive.
So I don't think. Oh, this is very interesting because I 100% was saying that's not just Javi's remnants. So we're to believe that Javi was able to find vermin and game to hunt and provide for himself without any tools, but
warm,
like none of the Yellowjackets could.
If it's warm, why
not? I guess that's a point. That's a point.
It would draw the life there. So, but also again, like you're saying, it could be more than just Javi, and that's again going back to the girl. So,
I agree with you on that front too. Definitely that I think there could be someone else that's navigating the tunnels down there that was with Javi, and even Javi. I mean, Javi even said it pretty much that there was right. Did he with Nat?
He said like. Didn't he say like she protected me or kept me safe and told me not to come back? So that's why I have it in my head. There's someone, a protector of Javi that may still be residing there.
100%.
But that's for another episode. I also want to say we saw 2 other pictures that were kind of interesting in Javi's luggage, like an eagle-headed person and then like a goat-headed person, or maybe it was an antler queen, like a deer-headed person.
We're trying to figure it out as well. So the first one was definitely an eagle. And then what it looks like it's a not fully constructed picture of the symbol that we've been seeing. Like it's the circle and the triangle background behind the eagle. And then the next one, we were debating if it was either a goat. It looked like a rat, which a rat would also kind of fit the theme of this episode with either the rat bones, what I thought were rat bones, and then Akila's rat nugget.
Could have been a rabbit.
Nugget.
It could have been a rabbit. It also could have been a rabbit too. Like Shauna killed a rabbit in season 1. Like who the fuck? I couldn't tell what it was.
Couldn't tell either.
I don't know what they were, but I was hoping to get some information from those extra pictures. Like, Yellowjackets thinks they have one over on me, but nope, didn't get anything from it.
I was not sure that we weren't going to see Crystal down there, like just ripped to shreds or something like that in some sort of fashion, because she's not there. So where the fuck is she? I was really thinking I was going to be Crystal Bones. I was scared. Kristen, sorry, my girl.
So actually, I want to ask you two, since you weren't on the last episode, do you think Crystal's body will be revealed when the snow melts, or do you think that body is gone? Because Misty couldn't find it last episode.
Oh, so, it's going to be somewhere.
Somewhere else, not at the base of the... Okay.
I agree with you guys when you were talking about you were having the conversation like, is the body just going to be not there? And this is the realization that Crystal was fake the whole time. You guys talked about it like they wouldn't have sent Mari and Akila out there looking.
Yeah.
So there definitely is going to be an answer to that. And I feel like just if her face is going to be intact, just for like real life, like cinematography purposes, like I think they have to find her next episode, because like, are they going to bring Crystal's actor back to just show her dead body next season, or are they going to just handle that next episode? So I don't know. I don't think that it's done. Like, it's still open ended, and we're going to get some sort of answer.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're entering the bad stuff. So quickly, just for status sake, Travis tells Nat, she's a good person and apologizes for making her feel otherwise, which just means they're cool now. They've obviously not been cool ever since Javi came back because of the pants situation. So they're fine. But now, of course, with all this,
it's
who
not
knows?
Gonna last long.
Yeah, Travis will never be fine again now because of all of this. I wonder how they're gonna pitch it to Travis, since he wasn't one of the ones chasing and see it happen. Of course, he wouldn't let him drown, so he couldn't have been there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So it all starts because Misty's tending to Lottie, and Lottie says, don't waste me. If I die, eat me up, basically. So actually, I really thought Misty was going to let her die. When she was like taking care of her a little bit later, I thought she was like contemplating, like, should I just not take care of her so we can eat now that she gave us the permission to eat her? But it was actually the complete opposite. She goes and tells everybody and is like, what should we do? I mean, we can't eat Lottie, so I guess it's got to be one of us. Like,
that's insane. I know B-Toms, you want to probably say something about it because you alluded to that earlier, but the point A to point B there is like the hardest criticism I'll have for this episode, and accepting that it happened. I like everything, but it's that piece of accepting it. Are we okay with this? Is this that extreme?
I mean, the only explanation is the wilderness is wielding some sort of influence to make them do mental gymnastics to be like, oh, Lottie's completely off the table. We're all in agreement. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being here without Lottie. It's like, what even was that line? And they're like, yep, I couldn't either. Then let's not. So everyone's on board. We're not going to just chomp down on the girl that's 90% dead anyway. Also, why does Shauna never catch any shtick for the bullshit that she does all the time in the 90s? She 100%. Should be alienated from them, not like one of the people that are allowed to have a relevant opinion on this subject.
Totally
Shouldn't
right.
They'd be like, well, Shauna kind of kicked the absolute shit out of her. Maybe she should be first up to provide for us. It just doesn't make any sense.
She got a little bit of lip from the two randoms, but that's it. You're
right. The
right.
randoms are the only two people that should be below her on the totem pole of who gets to talk and have opinions that matter. Okay.
You're right.
So that's all I have to say about that. This is probably 30 seconds of screen time is probably where 90% of the complaints online are coming from, and deservedly so. The pacing is out of whack. It didn't feel good, and I just expect so much from this show, and that was a little bit lazy.
Yep. I just think you're right. Like the quote that they said was, I just can't imagine being here without Lottie. They could have easily dove into it a little bit more. Like, they could have definitely talked about how Lottie was the one who found the bear. She was the one who summoned the bear. She was the one that's doing all this ritual shit that saved Van's life. Like, if they want to dive into all the examples of why they should keep Lottie alive, rather than just saying, I can't imagine being here without her, like, I'm in for that, then it makes more sense. But for them to just kind of not give any, they're just like, oh, they've already undisclosed information that Lottie is just without a doubt the number one of all of us. Like, a little crazy. I completely agree. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, but agreed overall, though, that I still was like on the edge of my seat this entire scene when they're fucking drawing the cards. Like, I thought it was still really well done. Just the pacing of it could have been a little better.
And that's underselling it. This was tension at its finest. Like, accepting how we got to this scene, put that aside, I fucking loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was like freaking out as they're moving the deck around the circle. Everybody's drawing cards, just for like dramatic purposes. It wasn't going to be the first person that's going to pull the queen. So I was, because Dave stopped me and we paused it for a second. He said, take your guess, because it was his second watch, my first watch. And my initial take was, I thought it was going to be Akila, but she was second in line. I was like, they're not doing that. They're gonna make it like more suspenseful. And I said, I said Aquila or one of the randoms was my
totally
actual
thought it was
guess.
a random.
Yeah. So I had no way of predicting how it was going to turn out. So I was way off.
Just one quick question. Was that a 52 card deck that they were handing out? Like if they had went around in a circle, all the cards were distributed and the queen wasn't there, would they just keep going around in a circle?
Yeah. They would just keep going. Yeah. That there was not just 12 or 10 or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I will say they both raised the stakes and lowered the stakes picking Nat because it would have been cheap to pick a rando if they picked Melissa or Jen, where it's like, put them in a lineup. I don't know which one is which. So it's like, that's cheap, but you pick Nat and we know she survived. So now the stakes are how the shit is she getting out of this, which is cool too. But you know she's not going to die. So I kept thinking like Ben was going to barge in and be like, have some big epiphany and be like, I found something. I found this. I found crystal or something crazy like that. But I thought Ben was going to be the one to break it, not the fact what actually happens. But before we get there, let's just talk about Nat saying, you're going to have to look me in the fucking eye, bitch. And then Travis is like, whoosh. Like, I love that. Travis just like womping on girls is like the only time I would like root for like a dude punching someone because fuck that. You're not killing that. I would have done the same thing if I were him.
Yeah, absolutely. I
think things we do for love. Jamie Lannister, you know? Cheers.
I think the acting here, just from Shauna and Nat, were just incredible. Like, Shauna, you could vividly tell, was just super hesitant about wanting to do it, especially when Nat made her look her in the eyes. But then either the hunger or the spirit for lady in this tree, whatever, you know, was flashing her back to Doomsday. And I thought she probably would have done it if Travis didn't tackle her. But Nat, you know, the runny nose, like the fear in her voice, I thought both of them absolutely killed it. And I was shaking. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I really have no idea. But I will shout out Jimmy because I think he even mentioned on our last podcast that if you knew and paid attention to whatever episode it was, I think it was episode 5 when Javi returns or whatever. And, you know, I think it's Aquila goes up to him. He's like, oh, what do you have there? Like, where'd you get that card or something? Either we knew right away in that moment from Jimmy's talk that Javi was going to be the sacrifice because he was the one that had the queen card. It didn't matter what Nat drew at the end of the episode. Javi was going to be the one that died no matter what. So I honestly, during the episode though, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, how the fuck are they going to get out of this? But when the episode ended and, you know, we're kind of talking about it, it made sense that, you know, Javi had the queen always. He was always destined to be the next one.
Yeah.
I all these theories of like different timelines have like really got me thinking that like when the knife was being held to Nat's throat, I was like, if this is a different timeline, Nat could easily just go down right here. And like what we're seeing in the present day is just a different timeline of them in the future. So I'm just really buying into this timeline talk now, but we'll see.
Multiverse.
Yeah, multiverse.
That'd be insane.
So I just want to talk about how actually devastating this Javi scene is. It's so sad. I'm sad we're not going to get Javi and all the information, but it also is the first time our girls made a choice that they're actually killing somebody. Like they chose to let Javi die. Jackie was already dead. Eating her is crazy and something you'd never want to do in a million years, and it's insane, but they had to do it to survive. This is straight murder. And this is like, you could see it in all their, well, maybe not all their faces, but specifically Nat battling like, no, we have to save him. And also being like, if it ain't him, it's me. Type deal.
Well, she didn't say that. Misty was the one that said, hey.
But you could see it in Nat's face thinking it through. Like you could see the acting on young Nat being like,
oh yeah.
Oh, fine.
She couldn't do anything. I mean, even I think Aquila or one of the girls that was running in the rabid was like, we can still save him, but Shauna is
Aquila
actually
says that, yeah.
But Shauna is the one that actually says wait, which it was devastating to watch because we know Nat, you know, was kind of starting to develop a relationship with Javi, and now that her and Travis were kind of patched up, this is just so hard for her. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for her to go back and have Travis's, you know, emotions. I think he's going to hate her maybe again. I don't know.
Well, they get to control the narrative since Travis wasn't there. I am interested to see what story they're going to bring back to the cabin. Yeah. Also, I want to point out Van looks ravenous for all of these scenes. A lot of the other girls are like anxious, like, holy crap. Even when Shauna was about to cut Nat's throat, like, Van's face was resolute. Yes. She was ready to go. She wanted this to happen.
Yeah.
And I want to bring this back to, I think, 2 episodes ago where Van, like, kept Lottie's ideals at arm's length when she was talking to Thaisa. I think we can conclude 100% that she buys in to all of Lottie's wilderness business. Like, that was just her lying to Ty.
Correct. I think Travis will end up playing the, like, it should have been you card for a little bit to Nat, probably, I think. But Brian, I had the same thoughts of how they were going to spin the narrative to Travis. And I will end by saying the 1996, my final thoughts is I keep thinking about how they're not going to be able to recreate the deliciousness of Jackie. Like, I feel like the spooky wind brought the snow and it smoldered over and it cooked it just right that it woke them up out of a sleep to be like, yo, what is that? I just feel like they're not going to be able to recreate that. And they're going to be a little disappointed by this Javi meat.
I have 2 questions I want to pose surrounded around this stuff. So talking about the Travis thing here, I don't think that he's ever going to find out that Nat made the conscious decision to not help save Javi. Otherwise, in what world do they ever get back together in the future?
I feel like Nat has just got to be, she has to be the one to tell Travis the truth. Be like, look, I was running for my life. Javi was going to save me. Javi fell into the ice, and when he fell into the ice, the girls literally came up and prevented me from saving him. Like, there was nothing I could do. I still think Travis will blame her a little bit, but like, why would Nat hold that back? Like, she
did try for a second.
She did, and she wanted to, but like, there's 8 other girls there that are telling her that if she tries to save Javi, she is going to be the one dying. Like, I get that Travis would be angry at that. Again, saying what Kathleen was saying with, like, you should have just been the one that sacrificed. But at the end of the day, Nat didn't. She wanted to help him. Everyone else wanted to let him die. She wanted to help him.
One of the saving graces here is that Travis buys into the wilderness, whatever. And he, there were people there like Van and Thaisa who are part of the powwow that would be like, hey, the wilderness chose. We all saw Javi fall through the ice. And that might be enough of a justification for Travis. He might be like, damn, that sucks. I lost my brother after losing my dad. But like, wilderness chose.
Also, they all actively signed up for this, right? They all stood in a circle and pulled a card. And one of them was going to die in that case,
Well, if you weren't on the hunt, Games. You would expect if anybody was dying during the hunt, it would be Nat. Like, for them to come back and be like, hey, Javi kind of died. Travis is going to have some follow-up questions.
100%.
He's going to be like, I thought it was Nat. I wasn't hype about that either. But, like, I thought it was supposed to be Nat.
No, 100%. But I'm just saying, like, Javi could have pulled the card. Like, at some point, someone was gonna die. It's just like Hunger Games. Your name goes in a thing, and you pull it. That's just what it is. Your name gets pulled. You're fucking beat.
I wonder if it comes out that Akilah will like mention to Travis, like, Javi did come back with that card. Like, I saw him have the card, even though we picked it. Like, he had it the whole time while we were back at the cabin. But this was actually my biggest complaint of the episode, was killing Javi off, because yes, I get that it was called that Javi was going to die no matter what because he had the card. So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that you fake out his death and then you go however many episodes of him speaking 2 fucking words and then just have him killed. I get that also Ben is replacing that storyline, but it just didn't feel right to me that Javi had all this knowledge, didn't say a fucking word, and then just gets off scot-free by getting killed. I was a little annoyed. That was my one complaint about the episode.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason that he came back and didn't say a word. And I think we're going to find that out through Coach Scott.
I was saying that too. I was like, I think it will be salvageable as long as Coach Scott gets the answers of potentially why Javi wasn't speaking. Like, I think there's got to be a reason.
And I'm the most aggressive about Javi not speaking, so I'm completely on that side. Like, they better save it, or else who cares that Javi died?
Yeah.
I'm also not completely convinced we don't get a flashback of Javi doing something,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Anything with this show is possible.
So my other question, and this one's going to be a little bit easier, quicker, I should say, is we know how much Misty loves Nat in the present timeline, 2021. Like they're best friends. Like, oh my God, all that stuff. Like that was like mostly season 1 stuff when they're getting reunited. Would Misty have done that same thing if it was Mari that got picked for the sacrifice and she's watching Mari not save Javi? Like, would she be doing that same thing? Or do you think it was because it was Nat specifically that she decided to say, yo, let it go so you live? Like, does she?
Nat.
It's because it's Nat. Okay, I'm fine with that.
I honestly just thought of it as rather than having to chase Nat down, we have a free kill here with like we don't have to chase Nat anymore when Javi's just going to die right here, and we can just
go either way.
I think Mari would have been the exception in the other way. She would have went out of her way to let Mari die. I think Nat or maybe Thaisa or
Shauna,
Jen, the most mid of any of the girls. Mid. Am I allowed to call her mid? That just means like average.
Yeah. I think
she's a jag. She's a jag.
She's a jag. Thank you. Jag.
Just a girl.
Just another girl.
Just another girl. Yeah.
Oh, just another girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any last thoughts before we leave the 90s?
My one wish for the finale is that we better see the spiritual plane cabin daddy guy that we saw at the end of season 1, because how did they just drop that plot line and it hasn't gone anywhere yet? And we had all the Laura Lee spiritual plane things, the couple Jackie things. Like, it's time to bring him back, because I feel like that's endgame spiritual wilderness, like the face of it. So like if we don't get like some sort of conversation there or something, like I'm gonna be pretty annoyed.
Did we talk about this on the podcast too, with how many human burgers Jackie produced?
Well, Kyle, I think sent that, right? It was
it's
like a
insane.
Reddit post.
You guys read it?
Yeah.
Just to put into perspective for people, some guy on Reddit basically did the math of how much meat Jackie produced in terms of hamburgers, and I think the answer was, what was it, 400?
No, well, it was like 27 hamburgers per person is how much meat they got off of Jackie when they
so like 300 easily plus burgers. But so for Javi, that's what, like, do you think this is so fucked up, but like it's a cannibal podcast. Do you think Javi will provide enough food for them to last the rest of the winter?
No.
Like 27 hamburgers is a lot.
Yeah, it said like because they ate it in one sitting and because of how they digest, like the post is so detailed. It goes into saying that basically bought each girl 5 days worth of life. It's all of Jackie. So there's no way.
Foggy Brained Math is the poster on the Yellowjackets Reddit, and you can search for it, but Foggy Brained Math, and it's crazy. So yeah, it says 27.52 hamburgers of snacky per person.
It was a great read, honestly. I was mind blown.
I just wanted to see if you guys thought that.
He goes into
it's really
like,
crazy.
Like when you cook meat, like it shrinks 20%. Like you got to take into account she's an average, like Ella Purnell's 120 pounds, and like he did it all. Like it was very meticulous, and I was impressed.
All that stuff.
Yeah, like take the bones out, like how much it would have survived. It basically bought them all 5 days, and because they were starving, they were capable of just like literally consuming all that in one sitting. And they could have ate nothing and lived another like 5 or 6 days, whatever the math ends up being. So Javi, being a guy, I'm sure his bone,
he was probably like, smaller.
He'll still probably provide roughly the same.
It was probably roughly the same.
Not gonna wonder why they did that much cannibalism math, but we salute you.
Yep. It was impressive.
All right, so
it's probably
current
Walter
day.
that did the math.
Walter, yeah.
Current day, yeah, Walter, that's good. Current day, we're gonna start with the Sadecki household, and then go to the girlies at the Cole. So the cops are here. Cuse is loose. We're at the Sadecki house. I'm gonna just keep saying Sadecki so we can prove that we know their last name. I couldn't remember if Callie had gotten rid of the Adam Martin picture. Were you guys thinking about that at all? Did Shauna take it and get rid of it?
I think Shauna took it.
Yeah.
Thank God. I was like, Callie, if you have that picture, I'm going to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was worried. They said they have the warrant. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in that house that could get them in trouble.
Yeah. So the psychopath apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Man, I hate the cues.
Man-eating tree.
Man-eating tree. Okay, I got it. But the climax of this scene, of all these scenes, is that the Cuse whips out these pictures of a perfectly sliced up Adam Martin, like meticulously sliced, because we know our girl Shauna is the absolute pro of all pros. She's a butcher in her own right. And it freaked Jeff the hell out. So let's just open it up to all of it. I know Brian was saying how impressed he was with Jeff. I agree. He did the best he can in these circumstances. So let's go from there. And we know that the bone marrow is the thing that they even cheese grated the tattoos off. Like they did everything, but how could they know that Adam Martin was such a good guy that he would donate bone marrow to a friend? Also, Javi is not Adam Martin.
No, he is not.
Confirmed.
Damn.
Terrible.
They ripped to a great theory.
Absolutely.
But yes, open up.
Well, for me, you guys have been applauding Callie's everything this season, and I think the Q's just said it completely right. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and objectively, Shauna is horrible. She is the worst, and Callie is just becoming a mini-me. You guys have been loving Callie this season. She's been great. She's been funny, but she has been an objectively horrible human being, and she's only 16. Like, I think it's great that they are starting this story arc where she's not getting off on the thrill anymore, and she's like, hey, Dad, am I becoming fucked up just like Mom? Because yeah, you are 100%. The heart to heart that Jeff and Callie wound up having was
Agreed.
So needed. So needed. He had to be real with her and just break it down like that.
I'm pushing back on loving Callie this whole season. In fact, I absolutely hated her for the first half of the season, so that's not true.
You hated her for like one episode.
Yeah,
it was 2 episodes ago that I said like that I reverted.
That's not how. Little revisionist history here.
I
Kathleen, you're with
me,
right?
We could check the freaking tape.
This is just like Van, man.
Okay. The only thing I'll say is that Callie, I'll disagree on, is that Callie, I don't think is a horrible person. Like you made it sound like she's a terrible person. Like what has she really done that's terrible besides get used by an older cop? Like, she doesn't listen to her parents. Like, okay, that's any other teenager. But I just wanted to push back on that. Dave. Yeah, I'm pushing back on that. I think regardless, Callie has been able to hold her own, but it's not going to go well for her and Jeff. I just think they're not capable enough to get out of this by themselves. But the heart to heart was really good so Jeff they have the heart to heart after Jeff's hilarious dream of Shauna having the electric kitchen knife hands. But I hope that heart to heart with Callie really kind of made Jeff realize that it's not Shauna's fault and that, you know, she's not as crazy as she seems. Like I want him and her to work out because I love Jeff so much. And so I really hope
Shauna's fault. Everything, because everything is Shauna's fault.
I mean, just like she's a product of the situation of just what she had to deal with in the wilderness, and Jeff does understand that, and like she lost a child out there, like that would be absolutely devastating to any human being. So I just hope that Jeff can at least see that yes, she is fucked up for, you know, perfectly slicing up the body, cheese grating the tattoos off, like that is definitely fucked up, but like it's because of what she went through in the wilderness. So I thought it was just a really nice moment. But fuck
nice
the
little
Q's.
pecorino.
Yeah, fuck the Q's though.
Dude, I'm ready to say that when he dies, if he dies, it's going to be one of the most satisfying things this show ever does. He has, like, I keep saying it, he has such a punchable face, like with that smirk when he's all cocky. Like, I'm liking that they're building him up because, like, he is being competent as a cop here. Like, this is impressive investigative work. So, like, he has legs to stand on with why he's being so cocky, but I also want him to die so badly. And I really don't want Kevin to die. And I hope Kevin doesn't get brought into this situation where, because like, I still like Kevin and he is like as nice as he can be to Jeff while still being a cop. So I just hope this plays out in some way where Kevin doesn't get drawn down and then we still get to have a satisfying kill in the Q's because, man, he needs to die. He needs to go.
I mean, the evidence is damning, right? Kevin's just doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's right. Shauna did literally kill this guy. So they're right. And I said it before. If the POV was in the cops' point of view, we'd be like, the Q's lose, baby. Let's fucking go. We'd love him because he's great. And Kevin's the one that's like, let's slow down here. And the Q's is like, no, I know it. But I think I am on Dave's side with the Callie thing. I don't think she's done that much in the wrong. You know, of course, she's being a teenager. She's blabbing her mouth to these cops and stuff. But I also think that she knows her mom literally killed someone. They put her in this situation. She's protecting and doing kind of some stupid things, but she's trying to protect them. I think she can't help it. I think that she was put in this situation by them. And she has a little bit of Shauna in her, Brian, which you're right. And so she's not necessarily, she doesn't hate doing these bad things, right? Like lying to cops, doing all these things. So I get it. I get the slander, but Luke definitely only didn't like Callie for 2 episodes, and that's all I have to say.
Okay. The other thing I'll say too is I also love that Jeff, I was really worried that he was going to spill a little bit too much, but he said, I want my lawyer. I'm not going to say anything until I got my lawyer. So that was a good move on Jeff right there.
Yeah, Kevin's like, man, you Sudeikis are just asking for lawyers, making you look guilty. It's like, you got a warrant for my house. Why wouldn't I get a lawyer? What the hell?
Right.
What's going on? But I have a question for you too. Do you think that Jeff knows that Shauna had a miscarriage, or not a miscarriage, like a stillborn or whatever it ended up being, because of the diaries or because she told him?
Diaries.
You don't think
she hasn't told him anything.
I feel like she wouldn't. She's the kind of girl that is just keeping it all inside. Sure, she's writing it down, but like I don't think she has gone to any lengths of communicating with Jeff about anything that happened there.
If that's the truth, the last season scene of her looking at him and said, you know, everything all these years is like expanded times 20, like, because we didn't know what happened to the baby at that point. So either way, we knew that he knew about a baby. We didn't know if the baby exists, if he knew about it, whatever. But wow, that hits.
Yeah, we can keep going back to that line. You've known everything this whole time. And as the seasons keep on progressing, it's going to hit harder and harder and harder as we keep learning stuff about the 90s.
Have we seen Shauna writing in the journal in 1996 in a while?
No.
I wish they did that. Like they show her in the background just playing with the...
Yeah. But... One last thing is that people had been theorizing, because in the intro, there's like the shot of the three of them, the picture, and then the blood splatters on them. That was in this scene. So it was just a dream sequence. People were really theorizing on that. Like, oh, Callie's dead. Callie's going to do something because all the blood really hits her. But it's just from that. So that's cool. I like that. Pit girl Callie. Yeah. But then just quickly before we get to the girls, Walter having himself a night, drinking some milk, maybe chocolate milk, who's to say, doing a puzzle. And then he starts getting the alerts about Adam. So he's doing some recon. He emails the police. And I think you're supposed to think he's like, oh, I know who did it. But he's riding for our girls. You know he is.
That's Missy's boyfriend. It's Missy's boyfriend. Come on.
And he whips out a purple jacket. So I don't know if he's ready to like drop some stuff at the police. And then he's like, I'm heading back to the Colt, because he grabs a purple jacket. I assume that's just like what he's doing.
I took that as like that's going to be his disguise to enter the place that Misty and all them are at.
Are we unanimous that he is going to be good still?
Pure good.
We have no way of confirming or knowing that, but I think he's going to be good. I want him so bad to be a ride or die.
Dude, so badly. Like, if he turns out to be bad, my Yellowjackets fandom is at risk here.
Because... I just keep thinking of that scene of him and Misty, like the parallels between the two. Like, they are meant to be together. So I just don't think...
He's so competent that they could not stop him. If he is against them and wants to, spill the beans, they're done.
Yeah, I agree.
The point I made to Dave was that like the cops are winning so much in 2021 that if you add Walter to that side, it's over. So like they literally need him or they're going to lose. So this is the path. And I'm absolutely loving it because like I said, I can't live in a world where Walter's bad here. He is just, he's the best. He's going to be so great when him and Misty, they're probably going to kiss at the end of the season. It's going to be lit. He's going to save the day. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a transition from Misty eating Javi meat into Misty kissing Walter.
Sure.
All right. So the girlies, we're here. We're coming off a fun little drunk night for Shauna to just really slap them back to reality. Tells the gang in like a way, just like Jeff did last episode, like, hey, you know that guy, Adam, the one you fender benders? that Shauna was like, hey, our friend Adam, they found his body. Yikes. And Misty, when they're walking out and everyone's getting suspicious, but Misty saying to Nat, like, didn't you bury him the standard 6 feet? And she's like, well, I didn't have like a tape measure. And she's like, God, I should have done it myself.
Yeah.
Misty
had to bring your
crushed it.
shovel from the movie Holes. Those things are 6 feet tall, so you know how big the hole you're digging is.
Ooh,
That is a Holes reference on the pod, guys. You guys should be applauding me more.
I love
give you some snaps.
Misty crushed it all in 2021. She was hilarious. She was just the best. And of course, like they're having the whole argument outside about, Van and Lottie want to be let in on what's going on between the rest of the girls and who this Adam Martin guy is. Lottie suggests that they not be outside because we see Lisa, I think that was her name, walk by and a couple other people. So they go to the sharing room, and what are they going to do?
Shauna goes, no. Let's go to the sharing shack. No.
And what are they going to do? They're going to fucking share their hearts out here.
Yeah. This was great for the audience, man. We got an unbelievable amount of just clear the air, talk about Jessica Roberts. Misty shined in every line she had here. She was laugh out loud funny like she always is, but especially here. And even the competent lines too that were getting thrown around where someone, I think it actually might even be herself. She's like, I took care of it like I always do, something like that. And it's just, she is so necessary to this group, and she doesn't get enough appreciation from the modern day girls. It was hilarious. And I think this is, if not like the final confirmation we need that Jessica Roberts is not going to be alive, right? Like we're good with that. I mean, I guess not confirmation.
No.
You really think that she's going to be
Show
around
me a body.
Dude, Misty's been eating her for a week.
How would that information not have made it back to Thaisa?
Agreed.
It's been days.
But how would how would Jessica Roberts not acted on being alive yet?
Well, I'm sorry. How would
she's in witness protection?
I guess, but I don't know. If Jessica Roberts is alive, I think it's a bad decision. Because I don't know. I feel like Misty killed her. Okay, fine. She's not confirmed dead.
She's probably dead.
There's always a chance. She's probably
dead.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, but she's probably dead. I was going to say definitely dead.
But I will not go on the record saying she's definitely dead. That's insane.
This is the level of Javi is Adam Martin to me. Like previous to this episode.
Yeah, 99% he's not, but...
Okay. Yeah, yes.
God, the amount of quotes that you can just pull from Misty here, though, it's just like when she says like I handled it like I always do, and Van's like, well, Misty, you aren't anything if not proactive, and Misty's like,
yeah,
thank you. It's just so fucking great. And like she's talking about the whole like FBI, and she's like, well, that was also me. Like when they're talking about it fucking killed me.
Shauna trying to put the spotlight on anybody other than herself. She's just like, Misty literally killed Jessica, and the FBI are asking about Nat, which brings us to, I was the FBI, and that interview really didn't yield anything, I thought. But Randy was like petrified with fear, which is kind of weird for someone who has nothing to hide. And then he brought up Jeff. So Shauna trying to point the spotlight towards anybody but herself just led them right back to her and some more bullshit. And that is how they kind of found out that Jeff was the one blackmailing them. Shauna's the worst, guys. Come on.
Disagree, but she definitely blew it this moment here with letting everything out. Like she definitely is the L taker here.
Part of me really wished that Misty had a little bit of a moment in the FBI interrogation when they like her mentioning Randy mentioning Jeff and then being like, oh, and then being so distracted by something else he says. Because for me, it was a little bit of a reach for her to have this kind of like callback moment to be like, well, now that I'm pulling all these things together, I was like, I knew this was going to go somewhere. There's no way that's just a throwaway line that Randy mentions Jeff in that room and that doesn't go somewhere. I almost would have rather Walter be the one to figure it out somehow because he's the one who clocked it and has been thinking about it. It just took him a while to connect because he doesn't know these people. That should have clicked for Misty's days ago. I mean, I know it's really only been a few days span, so it's kind of hard because we've been watching for 8 weeks. So we're like, the interrogation was 8 weeks ago. What's taking so long? But for them, it only has been a couple days. So I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but I agree, Brian. The full circle when I was watching Shauna just being like, I was like, Brian is having a field day. I'm ready to just let him monologue on how shitty Shauna is.
She even covers up that she lied to the other Yellowjackets about it because she was just like, I was afraid that you guys would try and like kill him if you knew the truth. And Ty was just like, don't put that shit on us. And then she later reveals it's like, the only reason I thought that is because if the roles were reversed and one of your spouses betrayed us, I would kill him. I'm like, so you are the worst. You are literally the worst human being in this show that is about people being horrible human beings. Oh, Melanie Linsky, I love you, girl.
Yeah.
You are a treasure.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Can't forget the Misty dropping Walter as the boyfriend line either. That was fucking hilarious. Yes. Yeah, my boyfriend Walter, you know, kind of, it was so great.
She is going to be so excited to show him off to the other girls when he finally comes to the compound. She's going to be like, my boyfriend, see, he's real.
The last line I want to just bring up too that I found hilarious was when Lottie or Nat is telling them all, I'm glad we're having this moment. Like, we can only solve these issues by like talking. And Lottie literally looks at her, is like, no, we're not going to get through this by talking, Nat. And like Nat just looks at her like, that's what you've been telling me this whole time I've been at the compound, is that we're going to get through this by talking. And now you don't want me to talk. Like,
yeah,
hilarious.
Before we go into that whole like final sprint for the 2021 timeline, I do want to say that didn't get a comment in that Walter's house is amazing, by the way. That was incredible. But why? I was a little confused how we didn't get a follow-up of Misty's crazy call. Like, no, you hang up, I hang up. No, you hang up. You know, that whole thing. Like, did we see it?
If we got the follow-up, then we would know whether or not he was on their side or
where
not.
He's leaning. Yep.
Okay, I appreciate that then. So he was just down to, as like, we can take it now that he received that probably well. Even though
that's how we're thinking. No, we don't know, but we're leaning towards that because that's what we want.
Okay, sure. If he does be good though, like if he turns out to be on their side and helping Misty out and stuff, right?
I mean, it's possible that he just hadn't heard the message at all. Like, what if he saw the number, maybe heard it was Misty, like they didn't leave on a great note. Maybe he's like, fuck this bitch. Like, I don't need to really listen to this. But I think he probably heard it. No, I mean, I agree that I think he's on our side, but I don't think we know 100% if he heard it or not.
Unless the timelines don't match up and the compound is farther ahead than what they showed Walter, then maybe he hasn't gotten the voicemail yet, but he's not the type of person to leave a stone unturned. He wouldn't say, fuck this bitch, I'm not listening to the voicemail. He'd listen to it and then form an opinion. Yeah. Also, the 1,000-piece cat astronaut puzzle that he was working on.
That could have been like a 5,000-piece puzzle. Oh, yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I know. His background of his computer was like a cat with its tongue out or something like that. He's such a goof. I love it. The milk was killing me. Killing me.
Wine glass, yep.
He's a sleigh.
Let's take it back to the Heaven's Gate cult now because
big time.
It's time to do the poison talk. And Lottie, I think, kills it here. Like, for what I expect of Lottie, this is like her leaning into that. I'm the leader of this whole spiritual path that we're taking. And when she lays it out, I really, really like that. This is the only, like, I'll call it like magic rule we get about the forest is it needs explicit blood sacrifice, and it chooses, being the name of the episode, adds that extra level of supernaturalness to it. And of course, since we love doing this, we're definitely going to be putting board guesses on for who we think will die if someone is to die next episode.
Oh my God. It better not be Van.
So, I mean, is there anything else we want to say before we guess? Because we can just guess right now of who we think will die if they decide to do it.
Can we abstain and say nobody? Or should we guess? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, hold on.
Say nobody and then say
I'll just go first. There you have kind of an idea of who I'm going to vote for. I don't know if it's going to be through the poison or not, but I think Lottie's the one that's going to die out of our 2021 girlies.
That's pretty good.
And I'll back it up just by saying the only reason I think that is because a few episodes ago, she was flipping through the mail. She was seeing the Queen of Hearts card. That to me was like a sign that she is now drawing the Queen of Hearts. So I don't know if I think she'll die. I don't know whether it be from the poison that she's laying out, but I think she will be the sacrifice. And that's just all based off her seeing the Queen of Hearts. Again, not confident with that answer, just something I want to try and guess.
I mean, hate to play this card, but like, it's not Misty, Shauna, or Nat, or Ty. So it's one of the other two.
Who did you say it can't be?
It's not the four. It's the two that only came in this season. So Van and Lottie. There's no way they're killing one of our four girls. There's just no way. They are the show.
I think it could be Nat.
I also can say that it could possibly be Nat, but I agree with you that Taissa no shot because of the whole lady in the tree, like zero chance.
No shot.
Shauna's the main character of this show. She's definitely, at least modern day Shauna is. She's not getting killed either. Misty, I can't see them killing off
her relationship with Walter is too early for Misty to be killed off here.
Yeah, she's not going to die. Van is always an option, and I would be so upset if Lottie actually is the one to die here, to the point where, like, man, I don't know how they're going to really proceed without her. It's got to be Van or Nat to me.
Nat,
like, it would be a good parallel of her getting picked to be the sacrifice in the past and then ending up being the sacrifice now. And also, like, where else does her storyline really need to go? Because the Travis loose ends are almost like tied up. Not really, but like,
you're not wrong, but I'm mad.
I agree that she's such a big actress that it would be tough for them to make that decision from like a success of the show point of view, but she's on the board. And Dave kind of talked me out of it. Like, why give Van cancer to have her get killed here in this way? It's probably going to be nobody, let's be honest. But if it is somebody,
I was going to say, do we think they're doing this?
I think someone's dying. I don't know if they're going to do this.
Let's just kill Lisa then. I
think someone's got to die.
See, I think what could happen is they do the sacrifice and it works, the ritual works, and good things start happening because they do it and they get rewarded. But if that's going to happen, someone's going to die. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I really do think someone will die in 2021.
Wow, that's good. I wasn't even thinking that.
It would make the season finale like really, really special if they actually go through with killing one of our survivors of the Yellowjackets.
Well, we're definitely getting a 96 death. I feel like we'll get another 96 death that's not Javi too. Maybe not, but like I think there's room to kill one more person, depending on if we get any sort of time jump in the finale or not. I think that we may get another death. Like I feel like
in 2021.
Yeah, maybe Javi was the death in this one, so we need a 2021 death in that one. Yeah, that makes sense.
Thoughts, times you've been kind of like nodding your head as if you want to say something.
I don't want anybody to die. And in the 90s, I just don't think they're going to have another motivation to kill someone else off because they should have their food for the foreseeable future with Javi. Like the 90s should be good. That was why it was such a monumental thing that Javi sacrificed, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I'll go on the board with saying I feel better about another death in the 2000s than in the 90s, unless Coach Scott meets an untimely demise in the cave. But I feel like
if you were to guess for 2021, though, and you had to pick a name, like who of those six do you think is most likely?
I was hoping you wouldn't double down and ask me again, you son of a bitch.
He wants it to be Shauna so badly.
I was gonna say Shauna. You said she's the main character. Okay, that's something I want to take a step back and be like, why do they submit her to like the lead actress for the award stuff? None of them are a lead actress. They're all like supporting actress.
That's not true.
Shauna is so not a lead actress the way that other people are lead actors or actresses. Like she does not carry
time, right?
But she does, hands
marginally.
Down.
Yeah, they all have such like shared screen time too.
I think Melanie Lynskey puts in an absolute. I was gonna say something, but it's a huge spoiler for another show, so I can't say it. But it's only like a certain amount of episodes you have to be in. Like there doesn't have to be any sort of layout. It's Melanie Lynskey gives an absolute powerhouse performance in this. So and you got to submit a lead actress. I mean, there's 1,000 actors.
Shauna too. Like
yeah,
Shauna may be marginally the lead character, but like any one actress in this show just doesn't.
Yeah, but that's just like
none of them are the lead actors.
Right? So you're not bashing Shauna or her performance. You're saying that they're all elevated on a certain level, but it does because it's such an ensemble show that there's not necessarily one single standout.
100%. Yeah. Okay. No, all of them are
phenomenal,
worthy of awards, recognition, or debate, but I think it's doing a detriment to the actors to put them in the lead actress category, because I think when being evaluated, they'll be like, oh, like it's just not a lead actor kind of show. It's so reliant on the ensemble, but we're pigeonholing. That's just something I wanted to get out there. I think any one of them would do a lot better in the supporting actress category.
And they will. Like the other ones will be in supporting.
You're not getting out of answering it. Is it Shauna?
Yeah, no, I tried to deflect again. It's Shauna, okay? If anybody's going to die, it is Shauna. Because actually, I do think that not a satisfying end to kind of her story arc, but that would be a logical conclusion. She winds up dying. Jeff and Callie are kind of spared from having to deal with the shrapnel of all of the BS that she caused and brought into their life. But
and I feel like her and Callie are at a good enough point. Like, I'm actually kind of backing you up here that, like, I feel like her and Callie are kind of like, Shauna is now painted in a better light for Callie. So even if she were to die here, like, they don't really like that relationship doesn't need to be explored really anymore, because
oh my god, they need to do so much work on themselves. They're both horrible to each other, and we need to fix them. Just because they like got each other's back for a murder doesn't mean that they don't have like years of therapy to go through.
I actually want to take that back because I kind of want to be right about one of these theories. I think Nat would make more sense. Shauna still has a lot more she has to do. Lottie is a plot driver. Misty still has to wrap some things up with Walter. Van, they just brought in and gave her 3 months to live. I think they want to cash in on that storyline. Nat could probably die.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't want her to, though.
Nobody wants anything.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to die, but it's gonna happen if it does.
I'm bummed that we don't get 10 episodes and we only have 9.
Yeah,
but this was a good penultimate.
It was.
Definitely.
It was.
Definitely.
It's crazy because the last penultimate, we had them hunting down everybody, and then in this penultimate, we had them hunting down. It's cool. It's like the same place in each season of them being crazy.
They should just sacrifice the cues.
Dude, yes.
Definitely.
Hell yeah.
See, that's what I think. Like, they should try and be like, none of us want to die or kill each other. Why don't we sacrifice some rando? We got a whole...
Yeah, that's the point.
It chooses, baby. Yeah.
Lottie's the only one that said that with her words. Like, nobody... Like, whatever.
Yeah, but the Javi thing was like, the whole idea is like, it's not fate or anything, but it is being manipulated. Like, the Nat was never going to be the sacrifice in the past because it chooses. I think that's what the episode was trying to drive home at the end.
Yeah.
One thing I would ask that we might have missed, sorry, Kathleen, is going back to when Nat was being chased by the girls. Like, they were very similar to how they were acting on the Doomsday. Like, they were screaming, like, very feral, you know, calling out, and they had the ability to hear where Nat was, not just like they were able to find her using what Lottie had taught them. Yeah. I'm just curious if you guys think, like, were they maybe possessed like they kind of were? Do you think it was the hunger that drove them to be so like feral by like screaming and like holding up those weapons like that? Or do you think that was actually them just so desperate for food that, you know, they were willing to just go on the hunt again like they were in Doomsday?
It's not Doom. It's Doom's Coming.
Doom coming. Doom coming. Yeah.
Doom coming.
Well, that was brought on by the psychedelics. In this instance, I think it was just their starvation driving them to their most primal instincts. And they clearly all accepted the results of this card dealing. Yeah. Whoever gets the queen. Once Nat drew that, they were all in. Nat's dying. We need food. It's going to be her.
Yeah.
How about the hearing?
Also, the hearing goes along with what I said earlier about Thaisa. I think that was Lady in the Tree because they all closed their eyes and listened. Thaisa was like there that way. Nobody else could hear.
And she can locate Javi, so she has something extra about her. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Cool.
MVP Buzzkill?
Yep.
MVP Buzzkill. Brian, you're starting since you stalled so hard on the last question.
MVP, Coach Scott, because I'm excited for this little side quest that he's going on. I hope he sticks around for a while and gets some interesting information. Buzzkill.
Easy. Just say it.
Shauna. Adult Shauna. Finally reaping what you sow. Look at that. The consequences of your own actions, Shauna.
Wasn't old Shauna your MVP too for the past couple? So she's had quite the flip for you.
Hey, that's this show, man.
Yeah.
Shauna is hot. Yeah. Shauna is
Kathleen,
cold.
how about you go next?
A little skip reference.
All right. I'm going to start with my buzzkill, and I'm going to give it to young Shauna, only because I wasn't on last episode to give her it for that one, even though I feel for her. I feel for my girl. She's had a lot of loss, but you don't just beat up Lottie like that. I don't like that. And so this episode, I agree with what was said about saying she ain't getting shit for anything she does. It's like they're just letting her lay around and hang. It's like you just beat her to a pulp. You can't do that. Learn from your actions. Let her sleep outside like Snacky had to for a night or some shit. Not actually. I do love you, Shauna. Anyway, and then my MVP is going to be Adult Misty for her line reads. I haven't given it to Adult Misty in a really long time, maybe not even since last season. So her line reads are incredible. She owns up to what she does, unlike Shauna. And, you know, she's proud of it. She is who she is, and that's what you're going to get. And I think Luke's right. I think we're going to get a big old smooch next episode, and I'm very excited for her. That's our girl.
I'm going to go next. Okay, cool. I'll take Travis as my MVP.
Nice.
I obviously had said Ben earlier in the episode, but because B Times had taken him, I'll go with Travis here. Just solid episode for Travis with his apology to Nat. We'll see where it goes in the next episode, but I just think for now, like he's in a good spot, and I think he's really matured. Buzzkill, I pretty much had old Shauna and then like all of the young Yellowjackets for chasing Nat, but I'll specifically just give it to young Van because she looked, like B Tom said, the most ravenous to get Natalie killed and, you know, get some food in her. So I'll give it to young Van for that reason.
I'm so mad that you just took that buzzkill. I didn't think anybody was going to say young Van, and it was for the same exact reasons that I had
like, all of them. I had young Yellowjackets.
Man, she was scary this episode. So my MVP is going to be young Misty, actually, because for two reasons. One, great opening telling Maury to F off and freak out at her. We love that on Bingetown TV. And then second, she saved young Nat, who's one of my favorite characters, and that was a great moment showing like their friendship, like how much she cares about young Nat as early as like a couple months into the woods, whatever. Buzzkill.
It's easy.
You guys took all of my buzzkill.
There's always one consistent one. You know who it is.
No, I'm gonna just pick the Cuse because any reason I can to freak out at that guy for having a punchable face. Like he's entering. I said this to Dave, and it's probably dramatic because I'm living in the moment of this show happening right now. But like he's like approaching that like Joffrey Ramsay level of I just want this guy to have.
Wow, not you reel it in there. You
not like to the level.
Tongue.
Listen, you don't even know what I'm gonna say. I'm saying that not to the level of like how good of a bad guy he is, but to the level of how much I want to see him get punished for being himself. That's all it is. It's not. I'm not saying he's even comparable. Don't get me wrong. I think Ramsay and Joffrey are on their own tier. But
could have given it to Mari as well for dropping.
I knew that's who you were gonna say. For dropping the P.
She dropped the P, and now the house is gonna reek even more than it already did.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking last episode, I don't know if you mentioned it, but they were like snowed in for days, and it's like Shauna just had this baby, and it's like the shit bucket. I can't even imagine.
We talked about it.
Okay, good.
Specifically said it would smell dank in that cabin.
Yeah,
because we were also talked about how like I was shocked at first, like why was Shauna still holding the baby? But it's because they were snowed in.
They couldn't get outside.
Yeah, that's
friggin' wild. All right, that is episode 8. It chooses. What an episode. Another great penultimate from our Yellowjackets on Showtime. Again, hit subscribe on Buzztown TV and Bingetown TV on all socials and wherever you're listening or wherever you're watching. Yes, Brian, show that sweatshirt. We've got merch if you go on our website. So if you're a Bingetown head, go get it. But yeah, YouTube comments are amazing. We've been getting a lot of really cool comments on theory videos and just our weekly videos. People correcting us or just like adding on to theories or whatever it is. We love it. Please correct us. Please add on. We love talking to you guys. You guys are the best. Again, if you're not watching Silo on Apple TV, hurry up, get on it. You'll be in front of the pack. There's only 4 episodes out, so it's really, really good. It's just like a mix of The 100 and maybe, is it Expanse, Luke, or no?
Attack on Titan, if you watch
Attack on Titan, which we cover. We covered Attack on Titan and The 100, 2 great shows. And then Succession. Yeah, Succession we drop on Wednesdays on YouTube. and all streaming, Spotify, all that good stuff too. So give those a listen and smash subscribe. But thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. We are Bingetown Buzztown TV. And thanks for listening.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Buzz, 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 buzz.
Buzz, 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 buzz.